afternoon. This is Heidi Sawyer with jobsandme.com. We are here today at the 19th Annual Maine State Human Resources Convention, and I am joined today by Dr. Jackie Freiberg of the San Diego Consulting Group. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We just got done listening to your keynote presentation, which was all about innovation. Can you sum it up in just a few words, what you wanted to accomplish with that?
Innovation in a few words. Oh, I'll try. So innovation is really bringing ideas to life. Unfortunately, we have 52% of employees, at least in the United States, who bring ideas to their managers, and they are really frustrated. And they're frustrated because nothing gets done with those ideas. They just sort of go into this, black hole, this vortex of nothingness. And so people have a desire to be intrapreneurial, and when they don't have any of those ideas embraced, and then they don't get invited to champion those ideas, what ultimately happens is they say, I'm either going to psychologically, emotionally, and intellectually check out, and so they become among the, as we talked about in the keynote, the dead people working, or as Ken Blanchard, my dear friend, likes to say, they quit but they stay.
Yes.
And then they, or maybe the best case scenario is they do leave, and then they become entrepreneurs, so they actually do get to deploy those ideas, but in their own place.
And compete against you.
Exactly, exactly. So innovation is really about giving all people, that 52% of people who are frustrated, a place within your organization where they can come up with ideas, game-changing ideas, but not bring them to senior leaders and say, please do this, please fund this. It's about creating a culture of innovation where people can then say, I have an idea, I want to connect with you because you have a certain set of talents and skills, and then we're also going to invite you on the team because you've got a different set of talents and skills, and you've got a different set, and so we're going to build a team around trying to bring that idea to life, to affect positive change in the organization.
Right, you talked about notice, lead, and disrupt.
That's
and
right.
When you said disrupt, you mentioned the idea that sometimes it has a negative connotation, but you're talking about positive disruption.
Yes, yes.
And these changes don't have to be enormous, and they don't have to be cost consuming. A lot of times you find cost savings when you allow your employees to innovate. Is that true?
That's absolutely true. One of the things that we also talked about this afternoon is the whole concept of innovation doesn't have to be relegated to an innovation center or a team of people who just get to think all day and come up with solutions to opportunities for improvement. We really talked about the whole concept of innovation being everyone's job, and that doesn't mean that it has to be a global game changer. That can mean that it can be a little service innovation that enhances an experience, that causes a customer or a client to walk away and go, wow. And then they become a brand ambassador and send more clients your way. So sometimes you can't actually attach the idea or the change to a specific new revenue stream, but you can certainly create a culture where all people are trying to create little enhancements that will ultimately create a great place to work where great people can do great work to make their corner of the world a little bit better.
Absolutely. It all sounds very simple. When you look at it, it's common sense, right?
Yeah.
So why do we face such a challenge getting buy-in from leadership?
I think leadership tends to be, if they're honest, they'll say, it's one more thing. And if you look panoramically, globally at some of the most innovative companies in the world, what we find that the leaders are involved. They're not involved every day, all day, but they're involved at least 4 months out of a year. And that's not 4 specific months, but when you look at the time allocation, they're willing to roll up their sleeves and show up where an innovative process or an innovative idea or an innovative cost containment or an innovative service solution is unfolding, and they'll listen and they'll peek in on it, and they'll be there to experience it and perhaps add their wisdom and their expertise and then make new networks and new links and new connections. So I think what we find is that it can be all-consuming. If the truth be known, some executives will say, I get this sense of innovation vertigo where I know I'm supposed to do it, but how do you embrace it all? Well, one person doesn't have to embrace it all. That's where we have to create a culture where innovation is everyone's job.
So just roll in, get your hands dirty. If you were a leader, that would be one of the biggest pieces of advice
Go
for
out and
them.
ask. I mean, I think Peter Drucker he's always been ahead of the times. His famous quote for me is, "The leader of the past was a person who knew how to tell. The leader of today is a person who knows how to ask." So one of the best gifts every leader, and I don't care if they're the CEO, the president, or if they're simply a supervisor, I don't even care if you're a colleague, everyone needs to lead with their planted. So all organizations that are innovative companies have leaders in all places. So one of the best gifts leaders in all places within the company can give to their colleagues, their organizations, is to create a culture of asking. When you ask, what do you think about that? What are your ideas around that? What have you experienced around that? What if you create benchmarking missions where you invite your people to go out and benchmark a best practice from very much outside your industry and bring an idea back? If our leaders would simply ask our people to lift off the blinders and notice opportunities that might not be industry specific, but could be planted within the organization, if our leaders were willing to ask questions and listen and then give people the freedom to experiment or dare to try, how much more enticing and inviting and engaged would people be?
Absolutely.
Far more.
Absolutely. Well, Jackie, it was great to have you here at the Maine HR Convention.
pleasure.
We really look forward to seeing you at Strategic in the fall.
In New Hampshire.
Absolutely.
I grew up in New Hampshire.
Did you?
I did.
Fantastic. Well, it was a great
Thank you.
meeting you, and we
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.